Hello, welcome back to my garden here in Denmark. It's the 29th of July and this garden is located in a Zone 7 equivalent here in Europe. And just look at this. This is Hydrangea paniculata and it is looking really good. And it is a form called Pinky Winky. And you can see that some of the blossoms are turning pink and they will start out as white and then turn pink, and that is looking really great. Another stunner right there in the middle of the border is what's it called? Drop More Purple. I cannot remember the species name, but I'll put it in. Yeah, it is the time of the thalictrums. This is thalictrum, looking really great. I really like that they sort of have this see-through effect so that you can still see what's behind them in the border. The same goes over here behind the rose. You can see I have several thalictrums here, and I really like the see-through effect that they have. Also, yeah, the time of the thalictrums, but also the time of the phlox. This phlox is looking really great right now. It was just about to flower in my last video, and now it is just looking really great. Also, as you can see in there, my Hydrangea aspera has started flowering, and it seems to be able to not freeze to the ground here where I live, here in Zone 7, at least here in Denmark. You can't compare the zones directly though, but it's pretty much should be equivalent to a Zone 7. Yeah, in my last video the Veronicastrums were looking really great. Now they have stopped flowering, and what I'm gonna do is, I think I am gonna try to trim them back, and I'm gonna trim them back to here, just to see if I can get them to reflower. I read up on them on the internet, and it should actually be possible for them to reflower, and I've never really given it a shot trying to deadhead them. So let's see how that goes. But I am gonna try that. What I did deadhead is what's it called? Valerian, red valerian here. I did deadhead that one, and I think it is gonna flower again. Usually they do, and you can see that it has sort of started to shoot from these leaf nodes, and hence it should flower again. Let's see, but it's gonna be a bit later in the season, right? Yeah, that is a nice white daylily as well. That is looking great. Only bad thing about it is it's not very big, and also it doesn't have its flower much above the ground. I really like them when they are a bit taller, or quite a lot taller actually. I'd like it to be as tall as this one basically. That is approaching its end of its flowering season. You can see there are not so many buds remaining on that one. Yeah, let's just continue and see what we have up here. Echinacea, and this is Echinacea Magnus. And Echinacea Magnus, one, it is a butterflies are attracted to it, and bees are attracted to it as well. Yeah, you can see a bumblebee right there, right? And it has only just started flowering. I think it had a couple of flowers on the last walk, but as you can see there are many more on the way. Also for this one, as soon as they turn over and wither, you can deadhead them back to a dominant leaf, perhaps a little bit below that, depending on how it looks. But that is a great looking plant right now. Also No doubt about it, the Veronicastrums are sort of keeping this alive, right? That is looking great. Also, I have a white Veronicastrum in there. I think I only have a very few white ones. I never actually ordered any white ones, but I think it's because the one that I ordered is also available in white. I ordered the purple one, but they gave me the wrong one. But I think it has turned out rather good, so I'm not going to do anything about that. I'm just going to keep them. Also in there, I put some additional drop more purples. Those should become larger next year. I hope they will establish in there. They do need some sort, at least some sun, but I'm hoping that they'll get that in the morning, or at least that they'll get enough. Hydrangea Limelight. Yeah, that is just looking really stunning right now. That is really looking good. Along with this elder right here. That is a nice view. Yeah, you can see I removed the tree that I was talking about last video. And yeah, it still looks as though a dinosaur walked in there, right? That's just how that is, right? In there we have Veronicastrum at the back, and as you can see, that one is still in flower. That is Veronicastrum, and it's called Erica, this variety. A bit of a different bloom, not as fluffy, and perhaps a bit more spiky even. And that one hasn't flopped, at least not this year. Don't think I ever remember Erica in there flopping. It is a bit of a different species than the other ones. Its leaves don't look as hemp-like as well. Actually have it on the other side of the path over here. Yeah, we can take a better look on it over here. As you can see, not as these can usually be quite fluffy actually, but on this one it isn't, and also the leaf is not as marked as the other ones. Oh, this one is actually forming buds right here, right away. So yeah, I think they can definitely be trimmed back for a reflower, at least my other ones. This in here is the border that, this middle border, some of it I'm gonna remove and make into grass again, but only up in this part of the border. In general, I'm gonna keep it. Yeah, these are also looking great, right? Yeah. All in all, I am actually quite satisfied with how this part of the border, I have a bench in front of it, turned out this year. Yeah, this is also a really nice view, right? I can't remember the name of that phlox, but that is a really nice one. Also, phlox have this tendency, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but they sort of almost generate their own light at dusk, and I find that is a funny effect, sort of, that they sort of light up. Of course they don't, it must be some sort of pigment that they have or something like that, right? That just reflects whatever light is there. But I think it is a funny effect. Yeah, that border is looking quite nice as well. That corner is turning out to be quite good. Allium Millenium. An allium that behaves quite a lot like a perennial. Comes back every year, just like other alliums, but it doesn't spread by seed, and it is very clump forming. And as you can see, the bees, they really like this one as well. That is another bee magnet. The border over here, some daylilies in the front. A rose here on this side. Some additional Allium Milleniums, looking really great. Also, I do like the daisy at the back at this time of the year. Also, that daisy is actually, that has sort of the same effect as the phlox do. It shines out of at night, but it's not as unexpected since it's so white, right? I always think that it's more sort of an unexpected effect when it comes to the phlox. Again, these Allium Milleniums are really great looking, but I am gonna move this this patch, and the reason why I'm gonna move it is that I have. Well, let's just take a look at this, right? Bee-wise, plus the butterfly, of course. Just so many bees in here. I am, however, gonna move this patch. And the reason why is I have this bowl with water sitting in here, and I want to be able to see that better from the lawn. And these alliums, they're just too tall in front of that bowl. So I'm gonna move them, but I'm not gonna move them now. I'm gonna move them when they aren't in flower. And they move really well. I've moved these alliums in the past, and because they have this bulb, they are very easy to move. Yeah, also in flower here, yeah, again the drop more purple is a hard one to overlook at this time of year. That is a plus, right? Yeah, again, the middle border that I am gonna move. You can see here that my aster has started flowering. This is aster, I think it's called Munch. I am not good at pronouncing that. That is actually a nice looking aster. It has suffered a bit this year. It's flopped really much. Normally it will flop a little bit as much, but this year it's just flopped totally due to all of that rain we've had. I think the ones that have flopped the most for me this year, I actually expected that the Veronicastrums would flop more this year than they have because of their unusual height. But at least, the very least, I should have Chelsea chopped this aster, and I think I'm gonna do that no matter what next year, because I do remember that one flopped a bit last year as well, and that year wasn't as wet as this year. So that one is one that will flop if you don't Chelsea chop it. And the Chelsea chop is basically that you remove the height of it at some point in June, depending on your climate. Here in Denmark, I would say the middle of June. The reason why it's called a Chelsea chop is that the British do it when it's time for the Chelsea flower show. That's when they Chelsea chop. Over here, not a lot has happened yet. I am going to move this Hydrangea paniculata over here. Really nice variety as well. I can't remember the name of it, but I'm gonna move that one to the new border, and then I am gonna put this magnolia. It's potted up, you can't see that, but it's in a pot. I'm gonna put that in here instead, because I want something to mark this corner over here. I want something that has more body than this paniculata will ever get. I think this pina will become 1.5 meter tall, and I just don't think that's enough here on the corner to mark it. So I'm gonna put in the magnolia instead. And yeah, there are some extra pinas in there. Hydrangea paniculata is just doing great for me here. Only thing to watch out for is do make a search for them on the internet before you buy them and check if they flop. I've gone for varieties that do not flop, or at least where people sort of said that oh, this variety is not going to flop, and hence these don't. I had one, I can't remember what that was called, that flopped, and I got rid of that one. I like them better when they can support yeah, let's just mention it as well. As I always do, Hydrangea Roseanne, that one is flowering from June and right until frost. And that is just looking great. In here I still have an open spot and I am not 100% sure on what I'm gonna put in there. But I have some candidates in mind. But yeah, let's see what I find out. Yeah, another plant that has flopped completely this year. Not that unexpected, to be honest, because that was just way too tall, is this Helenium. You can see it's flopped in this direction. At least it's flopped in the right direction, because right up here, that's where I usually spend most time. That's on my terrace, right? But so you can, all of the flowers have sort of gone to this side, right? As it's fallen to that side mainly. And as you can see on this side, not that many stems. So it's just become way too tall this year due to all of the wet we've had. But yeah, it's I should have Chelsea chopped that one as well, probably to the half of its height. That would be my guess. And also I have some plants that I need to move. In here you can see this really nice looking flower right here. That is a plant called Petite Jenny. And I thought it would have plenty of space right here. But the actual plant is, yeah, it's down here. Can I get a better view on that one? Yeah, right there. There it is. And there are 3 of them in there. And it needs a better spot. I have them in other places as well. I've checked up on them. They're looking okay. That's not the issue. But you can't see the flower enough where I put it. And I think it will do better if I provide it with a bit more sun instead of becoming totally overgrown. My initial idea was that they would sort of pop up here, there and everywhere and provide this really nice fluffy effect throughout the border, but they just don't get tall enough, so I'll move them as well. Also, as you can see here, I have some work to do, right? Because when the daylilies stop flowering, it's time to remove these flower stalks, and I'll cut those out. Also, right here, that is actually quite funny. That is a daylily that is able to reflower and rebloom, and this is basically the second flush. And the first flush got destroyed when I planted these Petite Jennies in here. So yeah, I am the cause of this early rebloom. But that is actually a daylily that is able to reflower, and you can get varieties that will do so. In here, Aster Munch again, along with some geraniums. Again, it's Roseanne and Thompson. And that is just a nice looking geranium. And right here, it hasn't flopped as much. And I think the reason is because it's supported by these other flowers that are all the way around it. Those have sort of formed a natural staking for it. But I still think that I might Chelsea chop that one as well next year, even in this position. But yeah, that is not a bad looking border at this time of year. Of course, this is the height of summer here, and that is where everything is going to look its best. And this is also the time of year where you should deadhead. And I'm behind on my deadheading this Nepeta right here. Nepeta Junior Walker. No, sorry, Walker Slow. It's Walker Slow. It's not Junior Walker. Is a bit tired, right? And what I need to do, I have actually trimmed a few of them back already. And what I need to do is complete the work right here and just get rid of all of that old foliage. That will trigger it to do a reflowering. I've tried that several years and that works like a charm. So that's just a question about getting it done. Yeah. Roald Dahl is actually, it's a rose in here called Roald Dahl. It is slowly beginning to make its way through. It has actually flowered quite nicely a while ago, but it is definitely punching its way through that geranium. So that geranium that I have here is not too much for it. I was a little bit worried about that Roald Dahl, if it was able to get through that geranium, but it seems to be working out nicely. Yeah, this is we are actually back where we started, but this is a nice looking thalictrum as well. Really nice looking. I don't know what this one is called though. Can see, let's see if we can focus. You can see these nice little flowers with these really nicely marked stamens. I have no idea what variety that is. I can remember that I salvaged that one from a garden center where it was at a very reduced price because it was withering for them, and they sort of had this section where very plants that they weren't able to sell at full price were, and I salvaged that one. And I think we're gonna go to the meadow as well, just to see how it looks. It's on the other side of the house. Yeah, thank you for this part of it, and do subscribe if you want. And also, if you like the video, do give it a like. Yeah, thank you. This is the side of the house where I have the meadow. As you can see, some of it has become too tall and too full. And again, the reason this year I think is all of that water that we've had. However, some parts of it is looking really nicely, as you would expect from a meadow. The trick here in Denmark when you plant any kind of meadow is that the soil should be really poor. Right here I established a meadow because the grass was always yellow right here. There was a lawn here before, and it was also always yellow, and I found out that it's because it was planted on a lot of sand. When they built this house, they created this really big sand pillow, and apparently they made it too large, and they didn't do anything about that. So basically there's a lot of sand here, and I found out that the best way to to do something about that was to plant in this meadow instead. This meadow contains quite a lot of Danish varieties, and those, at least some of those, are invasive in the US, so you shouldn't plant the same as I have here. Instead, if you want to establish a meadow, find out which varieties are native in your region, and see if you can find some really good ones. Also, yeah, I do provide some shelter for the wild bees. As you can see, they have been filled up quite nicely this year. They are, however, starting to wear a little bit, but I think the bees are still happy with them. And yeah, what do I have in here? I have wild carrots. I believe those are quite invasive in some part of the world, but here they are native. Also, can't remember what it's called in English. I believe is it called a birdfoot plant. This yellow plant down here supports native butterflies here in Denmark, and it's very popular among the bees as well. And yeah, these seed mixes that I put in, one of them was a basic seed mix that contained some perennials and grass. And the other seed mix was a pure Danish mix of wildflowers. And also I've planted in a couple of plants that I purchased afterwards. Oh yeah, and this the birdfoot was not in the original mix, so I had to put that one in separately. Also, I planted in some, what are they called? Yeah, I can't remember what they're called, but I found out that there were 4 native varieties here in Denmark, and only one of them was really wild in my area, so I purchased that one. I purchased a couple of them, But again, the slugs, I believe they have eaten some of them. So it's sort of, this is sort of a border where my I have some garden perennials that I've moved here as well, because I found that they would do better in poor soil. So it's not a pure Danish meadow as such, it's a bit of a mix. Also a meadow geranium in here. This one I actually researched it to check if it was native here in Denmark, and it was actually unknown if it is native here. But at the very least it's been in Denmark for a really long time, and it's not invasive. So I did put that one in as well. And yeah, my compost pile at the bottom there needs to be emptied as well. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.